Okay, this is Bare Bones with Jessy and B.
I'm Jessy.
And I'm B. And today we're talking about attachment styles.
Yeah.
What is an attachment style, you might ask?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it starts off when we are children.
Right.
I mean, really when you're in your mom's womb.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the connection that you make with your caregivers. So like, of course that could be your mom, but depending on who has, raised you, it's whoever that guardian or parent is.
Sure.
So it basically like is a label to sort of categorize or demonstrate like how your bond is with them, basically, how close you are with them, your behavior towards them. And then that sort of carries on with you into adulthood. So I've read different articles, and of course, I know this from my own studies as being a therapist and learning like so much about this in undergrad and grad school. However, I'm not an attachment style therapist. So like, I just want to preface this with like, we are not experts in this.
Right.
Even though I have studied this, I'm not an attachment style therapist. But I have seen therapists, before that have touched on this. And of course, I've learned about it. There are different labels depending on what articles you read, depending on what researchers are out there. And, it's like sort of, there can be like a different label as a child attachment style versus like an adult attachment style. So I believe, for example, a child attachment style would be an anxious attachment. As an adult, it would be labeled as preoccupied. But for the sake of this conversation, they're like just interchangeable.
Right. I like to use anxious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you anxious?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk just briefly about like the 4 different types of attachment. And then we're going to go into more detail about our own experiences with our attachment style and do some integration at the end.
Right. Essentially, we're just going to mostly talk about our attachment styles and how we're moving together into a more secure attachment.
Yes. Together, because you can do that. Your attachment style is not fixed.
Yeah.
And just because you may have exhibited certain characteristics of an anxious attachment in childhood doesn't mean that you have that anxious attachment forever and it's doom and gloom.
Right.
You can find a partner and, experience healthy coping mechanisms and behaviors together to move into, like you said, a more secure attachment, which is what we would all want our children to have and what we would strive for.
So don't attach to your attachment style unless it's secure. Attach to that.
I feel like you were saving that or something.
I was. That was locked and loaded. I was just waiting for you to finish your thought.
I can tell. I
was like, see
it on your face.
I was like, You ever seen that meme where like, I don't know, like shout out to the vegans, but like it was like this meme, essentially talking about vegans, but it's this guy and he's like holding his breath and this vein is like popping out of his neck and he's just like, it's like vegans waiting to tell you that they're vegan.
Oh, that's
every
so
chance
funny.
they get.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
That's
No,
how I felt. I was just like,
yeah, that's how you looked.
Whatever.
Side quest, I really want to try veganism for like a month.
Yeah, I don't. I like cheese, man.
I love cheese, and I've been not eating meat for over 5 years now. And I just have always felt like I would go into that path of no dairy or like animal products in general, because I wouldn't be eggs either.
What about honey?
Yeah, technically, if you're like a strict vegan, no honey. However, I don't even like to call myself a vegetarian because I feel like that puts me in a box, and we don't like boxes, labels, and all of that. So I feel like I wouldn't even say that I'm a vegan if I did go that way, because I would still want to consume honey.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't want anyone to come after me.
Totally.
And I create my own path. Okay, we're gonna get back onto.
You're a pioneer woman. We're talking about attachment styles, babe. So I'll start. So I can see now how it correlates to my childhood, but I previously had, and it still comes up at times, that anxious attachment style where I'm a recovering people pleaser. And, I was constantly in this cycle of trying to please past partners to the point that I was like wearing myself out in order to feel like, okay, if I do all of these things, they're not going to abandon me.
Wow.
And that I know stems from my childhood. I went from a very young age, my parents divorced when I was like 3. And, there was like a big custody battle, for many, many years of my childhood that I went through that. So it was just like feeling like pulled in so many different directions and feeling like, abandoned by people. And I, also like that abandonment that stemmed from like my dad when I came out.
Yes.
And, that whole side of the family, like I don't have a connection with them anymore. So yeah, it totally it's been like a trend I can see now throughout my life.
That you would sort of take on this caretaker role. In the maybe even it's probably not even a conscious thing, right?
It's not.
Just subconsciously, oh, please don't leave me, please don't abandon me. It's that child part in you.
Right. And it's like also like there was a part of me that like tolerated so much stuff that I now would not. You'd be gone in a second, like anybody, friends, family, doesn't matter.
Right. Because it's like, relationships in general, typically.
I tolerated so much because I had that anxious attachment style of like, okay, I like can't express that I'm upset about this because I'm afraid in turn you're going to leave, Yeah. So many things.
Right. And when do you feel like when did you become aware of your attachment style?
I feel like I've been more self-aware with you, to be honest. Like this is a very recent epiphany, I feel, is like noticing when I'm feeling, I've been so open with you, but like there's also this safety and trust that we've cultivated together, and I haven't necessarily had that on this level in past relationships. So it was much easier to fall in those anxious attachment patterns instead of, it was easier to like fall into that than to be more aware and like try to push through it with you. It's just been easier.
Totally. No, I feel the same way. And before I began like really consciously working to evolve into a more secure attachment, I would definitely be classified as something called anxious-avoidant. I think in the literature, there's also something, what was it? Like dismissive?
Correct.
Dismissive avoidant, something like that. I could be getting the wording wrong. No. Anxious, dismissive.
Yes.
Something like
Yes.
I think I'm being a little redundant. Dismissive avoidant.
Yeah. Keep going.
But yeah, so I mean, it's similar to the anxious style with the added behavioral patterns of being dismissive and or avoidant to like a caretaker, and then obviously as you get into adulthood into relationships. So I would definitely be fearful of like making friends, and that's like a self-protective thing too, fearful of being in a committed relationship, or even if I was, because I am a serial monogamous, so being in relationships but not like fully opening up,
right?
Just not really feeling like it was safe to do so, and maybe if I did, then yeah, that person would somehow abandon me, you know, because I think the deepest fear in that, similar to you, is if I do this, then this person will leave.
Correct.
And I can totally see how that was my inner child just expressing her wound, you know, deep wound, from also experiencing abandonment from my father.
Right.
Because he was like very inconsistent. And I can see how that inconsistency definitely contributed to an anxious avoidant attachment. Because think about it. You're a little kid, you have a caregiver who's not reliable. So how is that going to produce a child with a secure attachment?
Right.
Someone with yeah. So it all makes sense,
right,
looking back.
Sure. I also think I just want to touch on too, you know, we've been able to, I think it's also been easier for us to tag these things because we've been like reflecting things back to each other. We've been triggering each other. You know, there was an instance where, you know, I triggered a part of you where I don't remember exactly, but I was going to do something and I didn't invite you, or it was something along those lines. And that triggered a part of you and you were feeling like abandoned. And then we were able to like talk through that and be like, oh, okay, like here are the truths. You love me. You love me. You're not abandoning me. And yeah, I just think we've reflected a lot to each other too.
And that's
to be able
really
to work
helpful.
through it. Right.
That's so helpful. And I just want to say too, also, we're talking about secure attachment being, you know, like the best, obviously, attachment style that is optimal.
Right.
A secure attachment is being able to be open, expressive, direct, feel like comfortable enough and safe enough to, I feel like, just fully be your authentic self and express your honest emotions. And sure, fears come up, like people feel their feelings, but they're able to work through that in a confident way.
Right. Totally. I totally agree. And I've never had that in relationships before. You know, I've definitely worked through like my communication issues, but for us to just have such open, free-flowing communication, like we're not afraid to bring anything up to each other. Maybe we are sometimes, and that's okay. But like we've just, like I said, we've created such a safe space between each other. Like I can tell you anything and you can tell me anything. And the fears are less and less.
100%.
Of feeling like, oh my God, I have to tell her this. Is she going to abandon me? And it's like, no. It's like immediate,
yeah,
you know?
It's a really fleeting sort of thought or fear. And that fear isn't enough to deter us from being honest with one another. Whereas in past relationships, totally the case.
Right. And it's not something that, because, you know, personal experience, I used to like ruminate on something for sometimes days, and I would let it just totally drain me and deplete me. Like something that I wanted to bring up.
Oh, yeah.
You know, to a past partner, and felt like I couldn't. It was like this this really volatile cycle of just wearing myself down and, you know, not feeling free to express what I needed to express without some sort of like repercussion.
Right. Right. And I'm, oh, I just lost my train of thought. I feel like a lot of like, things are getting stirred up in this conversation, but you know, there are technically like 4 attachment styles. The last one that I really don't know a lot about because I don't identify with it, neither do you. It's called fearful or disorganized attachment.
Correct.
And that attachment style is someone who has like really unpredictable behavior. They're like maybe super isolated and like closed off from close relationships, but inside they're like really longing that and needing for that.
I feel like I've dated someone like that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. What was that like?
Disorganized. chaotic, volatile roller coaster of emotions, of the push-pull.
That can also look like anxious-avoidant, though.
True.
Which is, I feel like, I've never been diagnosed with this, but I feel like in my past, I have identified so much with the symptoms of like borderline personality disorder. I feel like that might be.
Okay.
But I don't
More
have
to follow.
Experience. It was really volatile, though.
Yeah. Like totally push-pull situation, very chaotic. So
it was probably anxious-avoidant.
Probably.
I'm getting,
Probably.
I just feel like.
Okay.
Because that can feel very strange for the partner of the anxious-avoidant, very confused, and then, it's craziness.
Very, very confusing time for me.
Yeah.
But we made it through.
And you're still here.
I'm still here. I'm secure, baby.
There is hope for that person that they can get to.
Correct.
A secure attachment.
Right. Don't attach to your attachment.
You love that one-liner.
The motto. It's going in my bio.
I was going to say, do you want to get that tattooed on you?
Maybe.
Is that your next step?
I got room on my right leg, so.
Okay. So, you're not doomed if you have some sort of insecure attachment, which would be anxious, anxious-avoidant, or fearful. However, you need another human being to redefine your attachment style.
Correct.
This is something that you can't do on your own.
This is true. This is true.
And I think that that's really powerful. And it also goes back to, I'm just thinking about an earlier podcast episode where we were talking about healing in relationships and how there's this big misconception that you have to fully heal one relationship and then that's when, okay, you can move on to the next.
Right.
I feel like that's not true and also like kind of impossible because your next partner or partners can be helping you heal, even if it's subconsciously from the past. And so if you were exhibiting all of these, insecure attachment styles in a past relationship, how the hell are you going to automatically have a secure attachment style, be fully healed? And okay, I'm ready for the next one. Like life doesn't work that way, baby.
I could not have without you.
I think it's literally impossible.
Obviously on your own, you can become aware.
100%,
you can see, like hindsight, always 2020. I can see like my anxious attachment style from the past, but moving forward, like I came into this still with that attachment style. You had to reflect to me things, and we had to build this trust and safety between each other in order for me to work through it and realize like, okay, this is, there's many levels. This goes like, this stems back to my childhood.
Yeah.
It's not a pattern I feel I could have gotten through on my own.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, same. You can do so much self-work, being independent, being on your own. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But in order to like really rewire and actually get the experience, you've got to have another human. And it doesn't even have to be romantic.
Correct.
It doesn't. It can be, a friend. So beautiful.
A family member.
I was going to say it could be your dog, but not
really.
Not fully. But that's a step in the right direction.
But I have a secure attachment to Buddha. It's her birthday today, too.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, baby. Baby.
She's so cute. She's sleeping on the couch in between us, as always.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the other thing that I wanted to say about attachment styles. Like, obviously, there's no shame and or judgment to anyone out there that may still be struggling with an insecure attachment. Like, that is okay. You are perfect where you are. I feel like these days it's rare to have like a secure attachment, at least with those that I've encountered. And like we say, like there is total hope and faith and just a knowing that you can work to have a secure attachment, and just tag it now and don't don't attach to the attachment.
You got it. You got it.
You programmed me. But yeah, don't attach to it. Just like any sort of label out there, like I'm a therapist, have the ability to diagnose people with a mental illness, and I'm the therapist that's like, no, like let's not attach to this label. Although I get it can be so powerful and so helpful and so useful and so validating to have a label for, oh my gosh, this is everything that I've been experiencing. Like I've been on that journey. Like I get it. And I feel like you can get to a point where, okay, this is not me. You know, I'm not a victim of this. And these things are not fixed. Like I have the power to totally change my trajectory, to totally change my DNA, to change my programming. Like that's fucking powerful.
It is. And let me just say too, you know, having this secure attachment has been so freeing and liberating in all of the best ways, to like have this trust and to be able to reroute these past anxious attachment thoughts that still come through.
Yep.
They will still come through. But to have that secure attachment come in and be like, no. These are the truths. This is what is real. Your old pattern is lying to you.
Yeah.
And that's like super powerful.
I love that. Because I will watch myself and catch myself going to like avoid or close off from you. And then I have this really like motherly, sweet, nurturing voice and energy just totally encompass me and invite me, okay, open your heart even more. You want to cut off. You want to shut off. Sure. That's okay, baby. You're still going to go for it. You can trust this person and you can trust yourself ultimately.
Right. And that's something that I've seen in you, like looking back to the beginning of when we started dating. There were times where you totally like shut down, but you gradually over time, you were catching it, and you were catching it, and you were catching it. And then you were like opening up more and more and more every time. And now I feel like you're in a totally different space from where we first started. But it took, you have to do the work.
It takes time.
It takes time, and it takes a lot of patience, and it takes a lot of grace.
Yeah.
For yourself and for your partner.
Yeah, because there are some like anxious behaviors in you, especially at the beginning, that were really difficult for me to digest. And I had to have a lot of patience.
You did, and you did.
Yeah.
And you did.
Yeah, and you helped me with growing my tolerance for patience, because I don't feel like I was very patient when I first...
No, not in the beginning. You lacked. That was the one thing you lacked.
Girl, my nervous system was fucked, okay?
So was mine. We were both on the struggle bus.
A little beat up. But also, like, not as beat up as I've been.
Yeah. I had like one function in there. All the other three tires were like donuts. The hoopty wheels.
Oh, you'd be a really great therapist. You just made a great metaphor that that's totally, I get it. I'm not good with metaphors.
I'm great with them.
And I feel like really, I don't know, like a classically trained great therapist has like amazing metaphors in their back pocket. And I just don't have them. Yeah, and this is like the other thing that's coming up for me that we wanted to talk about, but I realized we haven't. And I... What was that? I haven't talked about that I think is really important. I think it's really pertinent to the conversation is, you know, the layers of codependency.
Ooh, yeah.
That can exist with an insecure attachment.
Right. Within the attachment side. That was something we we were like hyper vigilant in the beginning about, I feel.
Yeah.
Because I was terrified of being codependent, because there's been so many past relationships that I've completely like lost myself in.
Same, everyone.
Pretty much every single one.
Single one.
Yeah, we're just keeping it real. But no, it was so easy for me to fall into those codependency patterns with that attachment style.
Mm-hmm.
So when we came into this, like, we were so aware of these past patterns, our attachment styles, and we didn't want to repeat those. So we were extremely, like I said, hypervigilant about, we would just check in with each other, like, are we being codependent right now? You know?
I remember if we spent like 2 days in a row together, I'm like, wait, are we codependent now? Yes. Honestly, like, if you're asking yourself and you're that hypervigilant, probably not happening.
Probably not. Yeah.
Yeah, that was cute.
It was really, but it was important for us. Like, that was something that was like a non-negotiable thing. It was like, I can't fall into this like codependency pattern again.
Yeah.
And I think with us working through our attachment style and moving into a more secure place, we've totally also conquered the codependency mountain that we have climbed many times in the past. So.
And I just want to say that, you said like getting lost, like we were talking about getting lost in past relationships. Yes. And I also feel like we're getting lost, but like in a totally different way.
Sure.
Like finding parts of ourselves that are even more true than ever before. And I think it's very true. Like, you get lost in order to like really find yourself and come home. So I just see us like, I'm like feeling really poetic.
You are so poetic.
So we're like getting lost in a different way, two totally separate whole human beings coming together and like, getting
there's a shared mission though.
Yeah.
With us.
Yes. What's that?
Getting we want to build community. We want to help our queer community. Yeah. We want to bring our people together. We want to help people work through these challenges that we have faced together and overcome.
Yeah.
So
we do.
Many other missions, but that just summarizes. We have many.
But that's one that's been more in the forefront. Relationships, particularly queer relationships. Yeah, people that are struggling with like toxicity and negative cycles and patterns. And now they're in a place of, okay, I see this and I want something better for myself. Like, and I'm going to start taking those steps. We are your guides.
Right. Help me get from this point A to point B.
Because we have gotten there. We're still getting there. It's always a journey. We never claim to like be fully healed. Like, if you have a body, if you are incarnated, there is work to do. Because if there's not work to do, you will die.
Yeah.
No, like your soul will choose to die. Like, truly, like,
yeah, I know, baby, I know.
When you're enlightened, you die.
Yeah. I was trying to think of something like really like when you were like, when I said point A to point B, and I was like, point A, awareness, to point B, blessed. Anyway.
So cute.
I know.
How your mind works.
Anyways. That's what I was over here thinking about while you were talking about people's souls die. I'm like, B. Beautiful. No. Anyway. And we're wrapping up.
So, let's do a little integration.
Sure.
So, if you can, find a comfortable seat. And we've discussed a lot today, maybe brought up like some childhood stuff, patterns, different relationships. This is not light stuff that we're talking about. So
very heavy.
Yeah, give yourself some time and space to just let it all sink in. Close down your eyes if that feels good. Just become aware of your breath. Maybe breathing in through the nose and exhaling it out through the mouth. And just noticing where you're at right here and right now. Notice your body. Keep breathing, and with each exhale, any tension in your body is dissolved. It's melting away, relaxing even more on each exhale. Good. Notice your thoughts. Don't attach to any of those thoughts. A lot might be swirling around for you right now, and that's perfectly okay. Just allow them to come and go. Keep breathing. And then focus on any feelings that are surfacing for you. And just allow them to fully be present. Maybe you're feeling a lot of different things. Maybe you're even feeling a bit numb. That's okay. Just allow it to be. Allow the emotions to pass. Keep focusing in on the breath, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Now focusing in on your heart center and allowing all of this information to integrate in through the heart. So as you breathe in through your nose, imagine your heart space just expanding and lighting up with this beautiful golden white light. And as you breathe out, that beautiful light expands all around you. Breathing in, that light is getting so much brighter, getting so much space in the body. And as you exhale, that light touches everyone around you. Inhaling one more, lighting up your chest, feeling whole because you are. And exhaling, expanding that light to everyone and everything else around you. Just allowing all of this information to integrate whatever resonated, and anything that is not resonant just falls away. Leave it where it is. Remembering to always show yourself the utmost compassion and love and acceptance. We love you, we see you, and we're here for you. You are safe. Breathing a little bit deeper as you slowly come back to your body. Noticing your surroundings, feeling yourself in your space, wherever that might be. Allowing my voice to gently guide you back as you gently allow light in through your eyes, coming back to the here and now. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, baby.
You're welcome. It's my favorite part.
Yeah, mine too. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. If you're new here, welcome. We're so glad that you're here. And we have new episodes out every Thursday on Apple and Spotify. And we can be found on all platforms at Barebone Lovers. And we can't wait to see you next week.
Peace out.